So in lockdown, we came up with this badge that I give to quite a few people that I know that work for the NHS. It says Lockdown NHS Hero 2020. Obviously, we're not in 2020 anymore, but we're in 2022. Things have moved on a bit. So since then, I've started trying to come up with other ideas for my DIY embroidery kits so that you can sew things at home, either just yourself or with your children. So I've updated this. I've took the lockdown bit off it, but I've used the same design that I would use on my machine. So this is a machine embroidered patch. And I've embroidered it the other night while the kids are in bed and I'm watching the telly, using what we call, that's a split stitch, and that's just a simple running stitch. So now, the moment of truth, you basically trace your design onto tissue paper and then you stitch over the tissue paper. It's really clever. So to unveil it, I wanted to film it so I can make use of all the time I spent embroidering it the other night. I think this took me about, I would say, an hour to an hour and a half. Probably more on the edge of an hour and a half. So I'm trying to work out how long it's going to take people to embroider things if you come to classes in person. So to pick off your tissue paper, we just need tweezers really, or good fingernails are also useful. So I'm going to carefully peel it off. Hopefully it'll look a lot neater when we've took all the tissue paper off. The fiddly bit, the same when you do machine embroidery, is getting all the little bits and pieces out in between the letters. That's probably what I'll be using my tweezers for in a minute. Just try and get rid of the big bits. So the idea is I'm going to hopefully come up with kits for any of my patch designs. So we've got the NHS Hero one, or you might just want one with your name on it, your child's name. It's really clever. You just pick off, because basically when you do your stitches, they're all punching holes. If you imagine, it's punching holes in your tissue paper as well as your fabric, so it makes it generally, I've caught the edge there, too easy looking at the camera, it makes it really easy to remove it afterwards. So yeah, if you come to do it yourself, just be really careful you don't grab a stitch like I just did do there. It's quite tricky to see because the patch is white and then the tissue paper is white. Grab that one out there. Oh, it's coming that way. So you can't even see where it is. Trouble is I cut my nails yesterday, so they're not smooth enough for picking off like that. There's my heart. This is what I do often on the machine. Just bend the fabric, it sort of pokes the corners up of things you want to pick off. I think we're about there. I'll no doubt spot some more bits as I go along. So, what do you think? It's a pretty good handmade version, because we can't all have super expensive embroidery machines like I invested in a few years ago. So I just think it's wonderful that you can do it yourself. So I'm going to put together all the designs. There'll be printable PDFs. I can send them to you printed, or you can download them and print them at home if you've got a printer. Such a shame I've done that. I'm going to try and pull it through the other side in a minute. And then the last thing you would need to do is turn it into a patch, which again is what I do when I do my embroidered patches. I just cut them all myself. You can see, because it's on felt, it doesn't fray the edge, so you just cut round and it always looks really neat. So the last thing we need to do is cut around the edge. We allow a couple of millimetres. Should have got my other scissors actually. These are my oldest embroidery scissors. Sewing scissors rather than embroidery. And again, a bit blunt, I need to sharpen them. But you get the gist. So just really gently, bit at a time. I keep the scissors in the same place and I cut. Sort of turn with one hand and just keep cutting the other. Also got a backing on, so when you order on a kit, from the first patch I did by hand, I didn't put a backing on it, but it was a bit floppy, so I thought exactly the same as I would for my machine embroidered patches. I've put some stabiliser on the back for it to make it a bit fab. I think that's fab. I'm gonna pick that bit off. So there you go. What do you reckon?